Welcome to Rock Solid, the Round Rock Business Leaders Podcast. Join your host, Bryan Eisenberg, as he explores the journeys of entrepreneurs and companies across Round Rock, Texas. From startups and nonprofits to large organizations, each guest shares their passion for doing business in this thriving community. Let's dive in.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bryan Eisenberg, and I'm here with McKitterick from Impact Family Wellness. Before I start with the questions for you, I'm actually going to share a story.
All right.
Okay, because I think this is, because I don't know if you even know the story, but my wife and I's business, we decided to become customers of Impact Family Wellness. Mm-hmm. And I figured, obviously, we're going to be customers just as much, even though we have health insurance, and we'll talk exactly what you do in a few minutes.
Sure. And
I went ahead and had my blood work and had big shock. And thanks to your direct care provider, basically changed my whole life. I got myself completely healthy, all my numbers back to normal. I can go into details on it, but really some miraculous changes just because I went in there. And so I want to start there. And I know you probably don't even know the full story of it, and we can talk about more details about that later. But I understand the impact of what you do. But first, let's answer to most people, what is a direct care provider?
I mean, that was like a mic drop right there. Like, dude, we can be done right now. Like we save lives, to be honest. That's what we do. So we are a direct primary care office. And what that basically means is we take healthcare back to the provider and the patient. So we are 100% membership based. So it's like a gym membership for your healthcare. So we do not process insurance claims. We take patients with or without insurance. We don't care. Yep. We're just here to take care of human beings. And so by becoming members of our office, you get unlimited primary and urgent care. So there's no copays when you come in. There's no office visit fee. You can come in as many times as you want. It includes your annual physical lab work. You get discounts on other lab work. But best of all is we practice healthcare, not sick care.
Yes.
Like we are not just here to wait until you are diabetic. We want to know before you're diabetic or before you have a heart attack. Let's figure that out. And so there's a big difference in how you approach a patient when you're trying to keep them healthy, as opposed to our broken insurance system that is just waiting for you to have an illness. Because guess what happens when you get sick? They make a lot more money off of you.
They make a lot more money off of you.
And so, we really try to make healthcare affordable for everybody, but also convenient and someone who you can actually have a relationship with. So I think some of the biggest barriers to healthcare are you don't know how much it's going to cost. Mm-hmm. You don't know how long it's going to take you. You don't know who to call. And then when you actually get there, you have no idea who the person on the other side of this table is that's telling you that you're dying, but you don't trust them from the guy down the street. And so by getting rid of those barriers, we can provide much better healthcare. And it's a great option. People just don't know it exists.
Well, I think it's even more than that, and I want to spin this back a little bit, because one of the big ones is also just time of being able to get in there. Mm-hmm. I know when we first started with you, and we brought in our whole home care agency, and we have several of our caregivers there because we wanted to make sure somebody was taking care of the caregivers. That my wife was waiting for an appointment with a dermatologist and was like 4 months out.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in your office.
No. So average wait time in this country to get an appointment with a primary care provider is 29 days. You can be dead by then. But no, because our ratio of provider to patient is so much less than your typical insurance-based practice, we have same-day appointments available every day. I mean, it's noon on a Friday, and you could get an appointment this afternoon with your provider because that's how it should be, right? You shouldn't have to wait until 3 weeks from now to find out why you feel terrible. And obviously we try to prevent people from feeling terrible, but there's a time and a place where you get sick and you need to be seen today. And you want to see the trusted person that you know so that they can help you feel better. But most of the time in those situations, you end up at urgent care with some random person who doesn't know your name. And it's not great.
And I think over the last number of years especially, I've seen the trend that people really don't like going to their doctors. We've forgotten even how to use doctors properly. Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Well, the system is broken. You can't actually call and talk to your doctor anymore. I worked in the insurance-based world for 10 years, and I basically treated my patients like cattle. I had to see 30 patients a day in order to keep the lights on. And so I only have 7 minutes with you, if that, right? And I have to get all my charting done, which is 70% of what I do as an insurance-based provider. And so I was like the Wizard of Oz. I would see my patients. I care about my patients. I want to take care of them. I would say, hey, let's do A, B, and C, but let me know if it's not working, right? And then they would call, but they get a receptionist, they get a medical assistant, they get a nurse, and they never get to speak to me because I am the only one making the practice money, right?
Yes.
The rest of it's just overhead. And so I can't be bothered with these things that aren't generating revenue. And so all of these big systems are run by chief executive officers who have no idea how to actually take care of patients. Therefore, patient care is no longer their focus, right? They're here to make money, and they make money off of providers. And therefore, keeping those providers as busy as we can with the things that generate revenue, which are office visits
and sick people.
That's the focus, where actually like taking care of the human is not a top priority in any of those situations. And so it's also reimbursement. I mean, reimbursement has continued to go down year over year. The same patient we see in 2025 that we saw in 2000 gets paid $14 less by Medicare than 25 years ago. $14 was worth a lot more 25 years ago. And so this is why you're seeing so many providers that refuse to take Medicare, is that reimbursement has just gone down and down and down, and the rules have gotten higher and higher. So there's way more documentation that has to happen and less money. Who's going to do that? No one is. And the person that suffers is the patient, number one, but also the provider. Provider burnout is huge in this country. And it's because they don't get to spend their time talking to patients about how to make them better, which is why we all went to school for 9 years. They spend their time doing paperwork. And it's awful.
Rock Solid is produced and recorded at Round Rock Studio. Located right here in Round Rock, our state-of-the-art studio is built for podcasters and creatives alike. We offer multiple professionally designed podcast sets, top-notch recording gear, and a full photography studio ready for any project. Whether you're launching a new podcast or upgrading your existing one, we can help with multi-camera recording, editing, and everything you need for success. Record with us at Round Rock Studio, your local podcasting partner.
Let's talk about that time spent, because I know a couple statistics. I think like you said, the average doctor sees somebody for about 7 minutes. Mm-hmm. They usually interrupt that person within the first 14 seconds.
Oh, I was really good. I prided myself in my ability to cut people off because I don't have time to listen to your story. I need to cut to the point so I can figure out what Band-Aid, aka pill, I can put on your situation to move to the next one.
And when they come to your office, what does a typical visit look like?
Sure. So all of our office visits are 30 to 60 minutes. There's occasionally, if you're just coming in for an injection, right? So we do testosterone injections, weight loss meds. Those are 15-minute appointments. Mm-hmm. But typically they're 30 to 60 minutes. I don't have a receptionist. I don't have a medical assistant. I don't have a nurse. I have nurse practitioners, and that's it. So you walk in the office, you put your name into an iPad. It sends a message directly to the provider, and the provider comes to get you. So you only tell your story once instead of 3 times. The person who's taking your vital signs is also the one who's treating you.
Yep.
And so it's not that something ever gets overlooked. But most of our office visits start in an office situation like this. Like you're sitting in a comfortable chair having a conversation. There's a time and a place I need to put you on an exam table.
Yep.
But a lot of our conversations are about sleep and stress and nutrition and are you moving your body and the things that really matter in health. And so there's oftentimes you'll never even make it to an exam room. Right? I don't necessarily need to check your blood pressure every time you come in.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if I want to, I will, but there's a time and a place for that. Like putting people on a scale, it's ridiculous. Like why? And well, the reason is because your insurance company won't pay a claim unless a BMI is documented, which don't get me started on BMI. But yeah, we
terrible
don't.
metric. Yeah.
Right. Worst metric ever.
Yeah.
But we don't make our patients check their gravitational pull on the earth. It doesn't dictate who you are. That number doesn't mean garbage. Now, if you're trying to lose weight and you think there's a magic number you need to get to, first of all, get over it yourself because there isn't a magic number. It should be about how you feel. How do your clothes feel?
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we have a scale, but typically we just use it for kids to to calculate their correct dosage. But yeah, it's just different when you don't have to do things for an insurance company, when you're doing it for the patient. You have real conversations and real follow-up. Like we see a sick patient and we send them a text message the next day of, hey, are you better? Are you not better? How are you? And even when it comes to text messaging, we do 70% of what we do via text message, right?
And over, like a FaceTime kind of message as well.
Absolutely.
So, when you got the blood work back, I didn't have to run back into the office and schedule something. I was able to get on a call and get all that information face to face as well.
I do screen records for my lab reviews. So I'll put the labs up on the screen and my pictures down in the corner, and I will go over everything with the patient, send them that video, and then they can watch it 15 times, right? And the patients love it because they get the information quickly. They can ask me any question they want. They can schedule a follow-up if they need it. Or it's like, hey, things look good. You need a little supplement here. Awesome, cool. Like, let's not waste our time by making you drive over to my office.
Now, I'm sure there's a bunch of people out there who will look at what you're doing in your office and say, well, these are not doctors, they're nurse practitioners. Can you explain what the difference is between what the doctors go through and what nurse practitioners go through and like what they can do?
Sure. So our schooling is different. Obviously, physicians get a bachelor's degree in some sort of science, right? And then they go to 4 years of medical school. They do 4 years of a residency. Then they take boards and move on to whatever kind of physician they would like to be. Nurse practitioners get a 4-year degree in nursing. And then a 2 to 3 year post baccalaureate degree to become a nurse practitioner, similar to PAs as well. And so depending on the state you're in will determine if a nurse practitioner can practice independently. In 27 states right now, NPs can do their own thing. Without any form of supervision. Here in the state of Texas, that's not the case. We do have a collaborating physician. He is a general surgeon. And so the rules are very interesting in Texas that we have to have this collaborator, but he doesn't really have to do much. We call him if we need him, but he's a general surgeon that takes out people's appendix. He doesn't treat thyroids and diabetes. And so we have a whole nother realm of specialists that we can consult. But in the state of Texas, there's really not much that a physician can do that a nurse practitioner cannot do in the primary care realm, with the exception of writing Schedule II drugs, which includes ADHD meds and narcotics. Well, we don't do narcotics in our office. That's not our cup of tea. We do ADHD meds, just the physician who's never seen the patient, nor laid eyes on the patient, nor is not trained to sign ADHD meds. He's the one who has to sign the prescription, not me, who's been trained and has actually touched the patient. But that's not my fight, right? Not my decision to be made. But between our 7 nurse practitioners that see patients, we have over 60 years of experience. And so as much as I'm going to tell you, being a good healthcare provider is not dependent on the letters after your name. Right? I know really great physicians. I know great nurse practitioners, and I know crappy nurse practitioners, just like I know a crappy plumber, right? Like they exist out there. I'll tell you, I think the most important thing to being a good provider is knowing your limits and knowing when you don't know the answer and when to ask for help and when to be like, sorry, this is above my pay grade. I don't know this knowledge. You need to go see someone else. But also that provider who's willing to go above and beyond for you, which we have the time to do that. So you come to me with some new supplement I've never heard of. Cool. Let me do a little research. I'll give you my opinion on it. Right. But that's really the big difference. And, there's really nothing in our office that we can't do that physicians can. In fact, I've been trained on a lot of different procedures. So I cut out ingrown toenails, I cut out abscesses, I will put in an IUD, and not all healthcare providers can do that. So it's interesting that if you ask physicians, most physicians say that patients deserve a physician, but if you ask most patients, they just want somebody who cares. And so I think one of the biggest differences between a nurse practitioner and a physician is how they're trained, right? So nurses are taught to treat people and physicians are taught to treat diseases. And there's a big difference in how you approach a patient in that. And I'm not trying to bash physicians at all.
Not at all.
They are great. I love them all. But I have 7 phenomenal nurse practitioners that really do care about their patients. And I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it was one of your nurse practitioners I met at a Round Rock Chamber event that was the impetus that pushed me to sign up with you guys. And she wasn't working for you at that point, but she was a former nurse practitioner who herself got sick, and the medical system couldn't figure out what was wrong with her, and so she decided to do more research and get into functional health, and now she works for you out of your Thorndale office.
Yeah. Kim, she's great. She's lovely. And, you know, that's really what we bring to the table is our own personal experience, right? I mean, I've been a nurse practitioner for 16 years at this point. I've seen a lot. And so that changes the way that you treat people. Like, yes, we have things that are FDA regulated and FDA approved in evidence-based medicine. And then there's real life and what works and what doesn't and what's best for the patient, right? Because I'm here to tell you, there's a time and a place for a pill, but we completely overuse it in this country.
Yep.
It is just like what we do. It's like, oh, you don't feel well, here's a pill. It's like, wait, maybe we should talk about why you're not sleeping instead of just giving you some addictive drugs to fix it. So, yeah, I do think the healthcare landscape is changing. People in this country are finally realizing that shitty healthcare is just not okay. Am I allowed to say that word?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, you're good.
I mean, it's just not acceptable. We live in the best country in the world, yet we have this system that is so broken and doesn't treat people like human beings. And people are finally realizing, like, this is not okay. At some point, we all need to realize medical insurance is not the answer. They have their time and place, but
it's great for catastrophic events.
Absolutely. For sure. And that's what health insurance was always meant to be. It was meant to be more like your car insurance. Car insurance doesn't pay for your tires, your oil changes, that sort of thing. It's there for when shit hits a fan, right?
Yep.
And that's really what health insurance was meant to be. It wasn't there for your day-to-day stuff.
Yep.
It's there for when you need your appendix removed or you fall out of a tree and break your leg in half. Like, that is where health insurance comes into play. And unfortunately, we in this country have decided that that's not the case, but then nothing's covered. And also, people don't understand health insurance. I would love to know who marketed health insurance, because they have an incredibly expensive product that no one understands, but everyone buys it.
Well, what's interesting is it's sold a lot to the bigger corporations today, because the smaller businesses like ours, we only have a handful of caregivers. So, getting health insurance for everybody isn't feasible. And even if you could, then you've got the high copays and the high deductibles. Let's talk about your model, because like I said, you deal with people who have insurance and people who don't have insurance. So obviously, like my family and I have insurance as well, but we're also subscribers to Impact Family Wellness. So let's talk about what that model looks like for people, whether they're part of a business or whether they're individuals coming to you.
Absolutely. So we work with a lot of individuals and families that have high deductible plans, health shares, no insurance, or really great insurance, but are just done with a broken system, right?
Yep.
So if you have a high deductible plan, we can absolutely use it for things outside the office. I'm going to tell you, you're going to want to pay our cash pay prices for labs because they're way cheaper, right? It's $6 to get your testosterone checked. Yes, $6. That's it. We're all about price transparency as well. And so we can work with your insurance for things outside of the office, but I'm not going to let your insurance company dictate how I take care of you. If you've ever been to the doctor and they're like, oh, you can only talk about 2 things today. Yeah, that's because of your insurance guidelines. So we take care of those people. But then we also work with about 85 local businesses that either don't offer health insurance because it's really expensive, or they offer some terrible high deductible plan that their employees can't afford, they don't understand, and they can't use, right? And so for any business that signs on at least 5 employees with us, we drop our fee to just $60 per employee per month. We want to make it affordable for business owners. I'm a business owner, you're a business owner. We get it. Like, expenses suck, right?
And that's less than some deductibles and
absolutely
copays.
Yeah, for sure. And so we try to make it as simple as possible. We don't have giant contracts. It's all month to month. There's no ERISA rules, there's no COBRA rules, there's nothing, right? It's me as a business owner and you as a business owner coming together to take care of your employees. And we just try to make it as simple as we can.
And what about the kids?
Yeah. So we also allow business owners to add their dependents. We take care of anybody from cradle to grave. So 2 days and up, we can take care of them. We do not do in-hospital deliveries or checks on babies in the hospital. But after that, we're here to take care of them. And so for our business owners, they can add on their dependents. It's $60 for adults, $30 for kids under the age of 20. And we don't care about marital status. I mean, you can add your grandma if you want, your Aunt Susie down the road. Like if you want to add them to your business account, we're 100% on board with that. And even for our individuals and families, like our fees are $75 to $95 a month for adults, $45 for kids. We have family plans. Like we're really here to make this affordable so that everyone can access it.
So you recently shared a story about the type of things that you do in the office. Can you kind of give people, that range of like ridiculous that you do in the office, so they have a good sense of like why it might make sense for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do basically everything from a simple like you're on a depression medication, let's talk about this, to I have completely uncontrolled diabetes and I need to be seen once a week so we can talk about lifestyle changes, to I just cut my hand on a glass and do I need stitches? And they send me a picture and I'm like, yeah, why don't you come over here? And then we suture it together and then take it out 7 days later. We do birth control, including IUDs for women. We can cut out abscesses. We can cut off moles. We can cut off skin tags. You know that time when you're like, oh, I don't like this. And they're like, yeah, your insurance isn't going to cover that. It's going to be $495. Yeah, no, it's included, right? So everything in our office is included, from all the procedures to the office visits to the telehealth visits. But we manage any sort of acute or chronic disease, from colds, flus, like we do COVID tests, strep tests, urinalysis in the office, all the way up to, congestive heart failure and diabetes and all those terrible diseases that people do develop. And, we can talk about medications, like some of them need it, right?
Yep.
There's a time and a place. But we're also going to talk about the other things that are really going to affect that disease state. Because a lot of disease states, unfortunately, are because of the things we're putting in our body, the way we're treating our body, the way we're stressed out, and part of it's just the American lifestyle.
That was what my blood work showed, and that had to make a lot of changes because of it. I want to kind of spin back, because obviously you've been very successful in the area. You have 3 offices, one in Cedar Park, not far from here from Round Rock. You've got one in Liberty Hill, and you've got one in Thorndale. As you mentioned, over 2,000 subscribers.
Yep.
And I also know you're very involved in several chambers of commerce.
Yep.
What's been the secret of success in this area for you?
I mean, you just said it, Chamber of Commerce. I do a ton of networking. I moved here 6 years ago.
Yep.
And I knew 2 people, my in-laws. That was it. And now my sister-in-law actually calls me Miss Cedar Park, because I know so many people, because I do so much networking. I'm constantly at chamber meetings, other networking meetings. I'm involved in multiple different nonprofits. We go to their galas. We support the community. And it is, number one, been the biggest game changer for my business, is people know me, they trust me, and therefore they trust my business. And so putting my face all over the place, right? Like I tell new business owners, which we got to tell this Round Rock guy that owns this place, like, you got to put your picture on your business card. Like, people aren't buying that pretty logo. It's very nice, but people are going to buy that guy's face, because he's trustworthy and he knows what he's doing. Same with you and I, right? People don't come to me because it's Impact Family Wellness. They come because it's Monica and she has amazing staff. And so absolutely 100% my business has grown because of community. And it's interesting because I am very well known in Cedar Park, but I'm not that well known in Liberty Hill nor in Thorndale. And so our growth has been so much slower there. I'm trying to get in, right? Like, it takes time to develop those relationships. But it's very evident to me that being involved in your community, supporting other business owners, and that doesn't mean you have to buy their things, right? It means connecting them to the other person that needs our services. Every time I meet somebody, it's not that I'm trying to sell them my services, right? Of course, I want everybody to come, right? But it's not for everybody. But they know somebody who does need your services. And it's about building those relationships and just being a good human being. And it's amazing how successful you can become. I would have never expected me to be here. 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, when I opened this, it was to give myself a job. It was going to be me, 500 patients in this little 800 square foot office, which was huge at the time. Yeah. And now we're looking at purchasing a 3,500 square foot building because we're out of space. And it's all because of the community that we're involved in.
Positive problem.
Yeah.
I kind of want to wrap up on some personal stuff, because obviously you've got a younger daughter also, and you've been in this area for a while. You've lived all over the place. What is it that you love about the Central Texas area?
Well, everything's bigger in Texas, and I'm 6'1", so I feel like I fit in a lot better. But I will tell you, it's the people. I've never lived in an area where people have been so kind and welcoming and willing to help you, right? And it's part of that community. And so I really do enjoy Central Texas. I'm here for the long haul. My son is 9, and so we've got a few years here. But yeah, it's really the people. I also don't like snow, so that's helpful that it's hot here most of the year, except for today, of course, when it's 30 degrees outside. But yeah.
Any final words of wisdom for a new business owner? I know how great it was to sign up and it standing out for our employees. But any tips for them about what they can do to be successful in this area beyond the networking?
Yeah. My biggest hint for business owners is just do it, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done, right? And so I think we all tackle these like projects where it's like, oh, I really need to get my SOPs done, or I need to get a business card. And it seems like this big to do. It's like, just break it down in little steps, take baby steps, or hire the person that can do it. There's a great book called Who Not How. It was like eye-opening to me to be like, why am I spending so much time trying to learn how to design a graphic when this guy over here has been doing it for years and he can do it in 5 minutes when it's going to take me 3 hours to figure it out. And so just do it. Like, take the dive. It's scary, but do it. And there's people here to support you. Just don't be an asshole. If you're nice, just be kind to people, and it will work out.
If people want to connect with you or your business, how can they find you?
Yeah, so Impact Family Wellness on every platform out there. That's also our website, impactfamilywellness.com. My personal email is monica@impactfamilywellness.com. But yeah, we're happy to help. We're here to connect and take care of the world and make healthcare a better place.
Thank you so much for everything.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.